What is going on, guys? I hope you're having an amazing day. Now, today we have Dinesh D'Souza, and the title of this video is called He Goes Off About White Privilege, Then D'Souza Shuts Him Down. Now, before we get into this video, I actually want to get you guys' thoughts on, do you think white privilege still exists or not? Me personally, I think that it was obviously more pronounced in the 1960s and before. But nowadays, I think that every single race has a different privilege. For example, me as a black man, I used to do government contracting. I used to do contracts for the government. Sounds important, but it's really not that, big of a deal. And honestly, I was getting subsidized because specifically I was a black man, and where I lived at, I live in the hood, which is considered, this hood that I live in right now, I'm not gonna say exactly where I live at, it's considered a HUD area. So they gave me more money and they gave me more opportunities because I specifically lived here. You get what I'm saying? Now, that's just one example of one privilege that me as a black man has over white people. Again, I think that all races have privileges. If you're Hispanic, you have privileges. If you're black like me, you have privileges. If you're white, you have privileges. They're all different in different subsets of society, but everybody has a privilege doing a specific thing. And at the end of the day, you will not be able to take advantage of those privileges if you do not work hard enough to even be able to see them. Me personally, I look at privilege like how I look at luck. Of course people get lucky doing things like me. I'm getting lucky right now with the YouTube stuff. But if you don't work hard enough to actually go upon that opportunity and see that luck, you will not actually be able to take advantage of it. But I think I've rambled on enough now. With that being said, let's get right into this video.
Are you willing to give up your illicit seat that you don't deserve here at Amherst to make room for a disadvantaged minority? Yes or no?
Good point.
After World War II, the white middle class soared to prosperity as a result of bills like the GI Bill. And African Americans who were coming home from war didn't get those benefits simply because they were African American. The U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs denied African Americans access to those benefits simply because of their race. And you are correct in saying that no one today dealt with that particular issue. With that being said, however, there was wealth amassed as a result of those programs that still exists today. And when I think of your example about an individual who works as a janitor and sees people dining in a beautiful cafe walking home from work, I want to ask you, do you think any of that indignation, given certain circumstances, might actually be justified simply because there have been systematic blocks in people's way throughout American history, not ending with slavery, not ending with the Jim Crow laws, not ending, some would say even today, we still have housing discrimination, all of which is to say, you found that during the Cold War era, there was a massive boom in the white middle class's prosperity, and you just didn't have that among African Americans, not because they weren't meritorious, but because they were discriminated against.
Are you actually saying that you believe in a rule of social justice today that says globally, let's look at this as a global rule of justice, I'm going to figure out whose ancestors did what to whom, and I'm going to return goods that were illicitly taken from the beginning to the people who had it originally? Do you believe that that's a viable way to organize our society? Do you believe, if I can ask you a direct question, that you are the beneficiary of white privilege here at Amherst?
Good question.
Yes or no?
Well, yeah, and
Pause.
Okay.
If you are, can I ask you a further question?
Oh, okay, yeah, but I don't just say it in a I don't say it in a self-flagellating and self-aggrandizing way.
Hold on. Okay, go on.
You know, I really try not to. I'm simply saying that because you asked me. Really, I view the recognition of one's privilege as an impetus to change things. So I don't just say I have white privilege. I try to help those who have not benefited from such privilege.
How? Really? Hold on. Let's pursue this for a moment. You say, this is actually very important because there's a psychology here, right?
Well, you see, I'm going to answer your question, but
is he going to ever get to ask his question, like his actual follow-up question? D'Souza has not been able to ask his question yet. Honestly, this is ridiculous. He keeps trying to say, oh, wait, hold on, before you ask the question, let him ask the follow-up question. Come on, man.
I'm really not trying to attack you. I'm not trying to be provocative. I just find that often, I think the essence of much of this discourse surrounds hypocrisy. And you're trying to demonstrate that I'm a hypocrite. I say I benefit from white privilege, yet I don't actually do anything. I'm gonna backpedal and say that ultimately I think what the greatest vice is cruelty, and I don't want to be hypocritical. So to answer your question, I'll start in high school. I mean, do people want to hear this, or do we?
Educated. Let them know.
Look, let me say where I'm going with this, because I think you're.
All right. Well,
Too bad.
all I was to say, it's not like I picked anyone out to help based on the color of their skin, but I was a tutor for people who tended to be low income when I was in high school. I suppose.
I don't understand where this conversation is going at all, and I don't understand how this conversation is structured. DeSouza has not been able to say anything in a while because this guy keeps, every single time DeSouza is going to say something, he keeps talking over him and trying to give an example of how he actually, contributed to, I guess, giving back to, poor and minority people, whatever it is, that did not benefit from how he benefited. But I don't understand exactly why he isn't just letting DeSouza say his follow-up question.
That would be one direct answer to your question, because oftentimes disparate educational opportunities are grounded in disparate economic systems or systems that produce disparate economic outcomes. So that's one way that I would combat it on an individual level.
All right. Here's what I'm getting with this, okay?
Okay.
One of the benefits of a good education of reading people like Nietzsche is you begin to understand how deep the human desire is for moral self-exculpation. Moral self-exculpation. Now, you say, and I didn't say this, you said this, I'm a beneficiary of illicit white privilege. Okay?
Illicit?
Well, isn't all white privilege illicit? Is it deserved?
Well, in this current system, there is legality.
Illicit means immoral.
Okay. Then
Immoral white privilege. Yeah. Okay. So then if I were to say to you, there are surely many deserving minorities who would like to come to Amherst, but have the inherited disadvantage of American history. Therefore, since you are an acknowledged beneficiary of illicit privilege, would you be willing to step aside voluntarily, putting your own moral mouth where your self-proclaimed virtue is, and give your seat, not my seat. I realize you may be super generous with other people's advantages and favor affirmative action, so other white kids who apply to Amherst are turned away to open spaces for minorities. But I'm not talking about you acting out your virtue on them. I'm talking about you acting out your virtue on you. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to give up your illicit seat that you don't deserve here at Amherst to make room for a disadvantaged minority? Yes or no?
Oh, okay. Wow, that was a quick video. But I just want to say this before the video ends. Let me just say this, right? I think it's very interesting that DeSouza wants to get him from a practical standpoint right there. He went to go actually, attack him, or not attack him, but be him in this debate from a practical standpoint. Are you willing to put your money where your mouth is? Are you willing to give away, all of your benefits so that those who are in a very, I guess a lower income status, like a lower, bracket, is able to benefit? Are you willing to actually, give away your stuff? And I think his answer to that would be no. But also, I think the very fact that, as DeSouza even pointed out right there, affirmative action exists. The fact that affirmative action exists, to me, tells me at least, that I don't think there is any type of systematic, R word, as you can say it on YouTube. There's no type of systematic anything. Oppression, let's just say that. There's no type of systematic oppression. There's no such thing as a white privilege, in the sense that how can there be white privilege if everybody is privileged? I think that there are just many privileges now that exist in this world today, if that makes sense to you guys. I don't know. But with that being said, this is a very short video. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was very lost during that conversation. Didn't really like it. Usually it's like a back and forth, like Ben Shapiro X style type of debates like that usually happen in school. It wasn't that. DeSouza didn't even get to really talk. This guy kind of didn't even know what he was saying, if I'm being honest with you. He was just, using words. I'm not trying to aggrandize myself. He was just using words, big words. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, my name is yedotti. Like and subscribe. Peace.